Time is the most valuable resource you have. Unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Once it's gone forever. So the way you choose to spend your time shapes the kind of life you create. If you want success, whatever that means for you, it starts with how you manage the minutes and hours you're given each day. Time is one of the few things in life that is equal for everyone, regardless of background, wealth, or status. Each of us is given 24 hours in a day, and what differentiates one person's outcome from another is how those hours are spent. When you begin to see time as your most valuable resource, you stop treating it casually. You start to notice how easily it slips away when you're not paying attention, and you realize that every wasted hour is an opportunity lost. This awareness is the first step to using time wisely, because you cannot manage something that you don't value. Many people believe they can make up for lost time later, but this thinking keeps them stuck. The truth is, you can never replace the hours you've already spent. Money can be regained, possessions can be replaced, but time, once it's gone, disappears permanently. That makes it far more valuable than anything else you can hold in your hand. When you understand this deeply, you begin to protect your time from people and activities that don't serve your greater purpose. This shift in perspective changes how you prioritize your day and who you allow into your space. Another layer to valuing time is recognizing that it is directly connected to the kind of life you create. The dreams you want to achieve are not built overnight, but they are built moment by moment through the intentional use of your time. Each hour invested in your goals compounds into progress, just like saving small amounts of money over time eventually builds wealth. When you see time as an investment, you become more thoughtful about where to place it, because you know it will yield a return that shapes your future. It's also important to realize that time is finite. You don't know how many years or even days you have left, and that makes every moment matter even more. The illusion that you'll always have more time makes people delay their goals, put off meaningful conversations, and waste energy on things that don't really matter. But when you live with the awareness that your time is limited, you naturally start to live more intentionally. You spend more energy on things that create fulfillment and less on activities that drain you. People who succeed are rarely the ones who are the most talented or the most connected. More often, they are the ones who understood the value of time and learned to master it. They knew that how they spent their hours would decide how far they went in life. They guarded their mornings, cut out distractions, and didn't give away their time freely to things that didn't align with their vision. Their success was not luck. It was the direct result of seeing time as precious and refusing to waste it. When you view time as your most valuable resource, you start to think differently about daily decisions. You no longer see watching another episode of a show or scrolling endlessly on your phone as harmless, because you know each choice adds up. The minutes you spend on something unproductive are minutes you could have invested in learning, growing, or building. This doesn't mean you should never rest, but it means rest itself becomes intentional, something that recharges you instead of simply filling space. You also develop respect for other people's time when you learn to respect your own. You show up when you say you will, you don't waste their energy with indecision, and you keep your commitments. This builds trust, because people see that you value the most precious thing you both share. Respecting time becomes a reflection of your character, and it attracts others who are also intentional about how they live. Together, you create an environment where success is more likely to grow, because no one is careless with the resource that matters most. In this perspective, procrastination takes on a new meaning. It's not just a bad habit, it's a form of self-sabotage. Each time you delay something important, you're essentially throwing away time you'll never get back. The work will still be waiting, but the time you wasted can't be reclaimed. This awareness can push you to act even when you don't feel motivated, because you realize waiting is costing you more than you can afford. You start to choose progress over perfection, knowing that action, no matter how small, is the best use of your limited time. Another way to understand the value of time is to observe how successful people live. They often rise early, create structured routines, and plan their days carefully. This isn't because they enjoy rigidity, it's because they understand that discipline preserves their time for what truly matters. Every minute they save from being wasted is another minute they can pour into their goals, their families, or their personal growth. They see time as currency, and they spend it in ways that will compound into future rewards. Ultimately, the difference between those who achieve success and those who stay stuck is not intelligence or opportunity. It's the way they value and use time. When you deeply believe that time is your most valuable resource, your entire life begins to align differently. You guard it fiercely, invest it wisely, and refuse to let it slip through your fingers unnoticed. Every day becomes an opportunity to move closer to the life you want simply because you chose to respect the hours you've been given. One of the most important skills you can develop on your journey to success is the ability to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. Urgent tasks scream for your attention, while important tasks quietly sit in the background waiting for you to notice them. The problem is that urgent things often feel like they can't wait. Emails, calls, deadlines, and unexpected demands from others. They create pressure and stress, which tricks your mind into believing they are the most critical things on your list. Important tasks, on the other hand, are the ones that build your future. They rarely come with alarms or immediate consequences, but they shape the direction of your life and determine your long-term success. When you spend most of your time chasing urgent matters, you often end up exhausted but not fulfilled. You feel busy, but your business doesn't move you closer to your goals. This is why so many people can work hard all day yet feel like they accomplished nothing meaningful. They lived in reaction mode, giving their best energy to whatever demanded it in the moment, instead of taking control and directing that energy toward what truly matters. The constant cycle of reacting leaves little space for progress, and over time, it can lead to frustration and burnout. Important tasks require a different mindset. They are the things that may not demand your attention now, but neglecting them has serious consequences later. Working on your health, for example, may not feel urgent when you're caught up in deadlines, but ignoring it eventually costs you energy, focus, and even your ability to work. Building skills and learning may not feel urgent when your inbox is full, but it's those investments that prepare you for opportunities in the future. Important tasks are not loud, but they are powerful, and choosing them over constant urgency is how you shift from living reactively to living with purpose. The challenge comes in the moment-to-moment decisions. It's easy to say that you'll focus on what's important, but when the phone rings or a notification pings, your brain naturally wants to respond. This is because urgent things give you the illusion of accomplishment. Crossing off small, quick tasks feels satisfying, but it doesn't always mean you're making real progress. Meanwhile, important tasks often require deep focus, patience, and consistency. They don't offer instant gratification, but they produce results that last. The key is training yourself to resist the pull of urgency and giving your best time and energy to the things that matter most. Another way to think of urgent versus important is to imagine your life as a house. Urgent tasks are like fixing a leaking faucet. It must be done quickly or it creates a mess. Important tasks are like maintaining the foundation. If you neglect it, the entire structure eventually crumbles. Both have value, but when you spend all your time patching leaks, you leave no room to strengthen the foundation. Over the years, the cost of neglect becomes greater than any short-term urgency you solved. Understanding this balance changes the way you view your priorities and helps you avoid a life built only on reaction. The truth is, many urgent things are not truly your emergencies. They are someone else's priorities. Every time you immediately answer an email or drop your plans to meet someone else's demand, you might be sacrificing the work that is essential for your own success. This doesn't mean you should ignore responsibilities or refuse to help others, but it does mean you need to be intentional about when and how you respond. Protecting your important work requires boundaries, and it requires the courage to sometimes delay or decline urgent requests that don't align with your greater purpose. People who master this principle often schedule their important tasks before anything else. They dedicate blocks of time to deep work, reflection, or skill building, treating these activities as non-negotiable. By doing this, they ensure that their long-term goals always move forward, even if the rest of their day gets consumed by urgent demands. They know that if they don't plan for what's important, the urgent will always take over. This discipline creates a powerful shift, where their life is no longer dictated by constant emergencies, but by deliberate choices that lead to success. Living this way requires clarity about what's truly important to you. If you don't know your goals or values, it's impossible to prioritize them over urgency. Many people get caught in the trap of urgency simply because they've never defined what matters most. They wake up each day reacting to whatever comes their way without a clear sense of direction. But when you know what you're working toward, it becomes easier to recognize which tasks deserve your focus and which ones can wait. Clarity becomes the filter that separates the urgent from the meaningful. There's also a psychological benefit to choosing important work over urgent distractions. Important tasks often align with your values and purpose, and when you dedicate time to them, you feel more fulfilled and motivated. Urgent tasks may provide temporary relief when they're completed, but they rarely leave you with a sense of deeper satisfaction. By regularly investing your energy in what's important, you build confidence in yourself and your ability to direct your life. You begin to see evidence that your time is producing real change, and that reinforces your commitment to staying focused. Over time, the consistent choice to prioritize important tasks creates a ripple effect. Your health improves because you consistently made space for it. Your skills grow because you didn't ignore learning in favor of quick wins. Your relationships deepen because you gave them quality attention instead of squeezing them into leftover minutes. Success in any area of life is rarely the result of constant urgency. It comes from steady investment in what truly matters. And the earlier you learn to separate the urgent from the important, the sooner you begin shaping a life of lasting success rather than one of endless reaction. Learning to set boundaries with your time is one of the most powerful skills you can develop if you want to succeed. Without boundaries, your schedule gets filled with other people's priorities, and before you realize it, you're living a life that doesn't reflect your own goals. Time is a limited resource, and if you give it away too freely, you will find yourself drained, scattered, and resentful. The ability to say no, to protect your hours, and to structure your day around what matters most is not selfish. It's essential for growth. Every time you agree to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're saying no to something that does. This is the hidden cost of poor boundaries. On the surface, it looks like you're just being helpful or accommodating, but in reality, you're sacrificing time you could have spent building your future. When you begin to see time as the most valuable currency you have, you understand that each commitment you make is a transaction. You either spend it on what moves you forward or on what keeps you stuck. Boundaries are the way you ensure that you're spending your time wisely. Boundaries also create clarity for the people around you. When you consistently allow others to interrupt your day, they assume your time is always available. This pattern leads to more demands, more distractions, and less respect for your personal goals. But when you communicate your limits and enforce them, others begin to respect your time in the same way you do. They learn when you're available and when you're not. And this creates healthier relationships where both sides understand the value of each other's commitments. There is a fear that comes with setting boundaries, especially if you've spent most of your life saying yes to everyone. You worry about disappointing others, being misunderstood, or losing opportunities. But the truth is, people who value you will respect your boundaries, and those who don't respect them were never truly supportive of your growth in the first place. By protecting your time, you filter out relationships that drain you and strengthen those that align with your vision. Boundaries are not walls that isolate you. They are gates that allow the right things in and keep the wrong things out. Setting boundaries with your time also means being intentional about your daily routines. It's not only about saying no to others, but also about saying no to yourself when you're tempted by distractions. It's easy to give away hours to television, social media, or conversations that go nowhere, but boundaries help you redirect those moments into something more meaningful. They remind you of the bigger picture and prevent you from losing track of your goals. Self-discipline is a form of boundary, and it's one of the hardest but most rewarding ones to master. One practical way to establish boundaries is through scheduling. When you plan your day and block out time for specific activities, you're making a commitment to yourself. That block of time is a boundary. It signals that nothing else should interfere with it. Whether it's for work, exercise, learning, or rest, treating your schedule as non-negotiable helps you prioritize what truly matters. Over time, this practice builds structure and momentum, making it easier to protect your time without constant negotiation or guilt. Another benefit of strong boundaries is the sense of peace they bring. Without boundaries, your days are chaotic, filled with interruptions and last-minute obligations. You move from one task to the next without focus, always reacting instead of leading. Boundaries create order. They give your time shape and meaning, allowing you to concentrate fully on what's in front of you. This clarity reduces stress and increases productivity because you're no longer pulled in 10 different directions at once. Boundaries also help you preserve your energy. Success is not only about how you spend your hours, but also about how you manage your mental and emotional reserves. When you constantly overextend yourself, you drain the energy you need for important work. Saying yes to everything spreads you thin and leaves you too tired to focus on what truly matters. Protecting your time means protecting your energy, and that energy is what fuels the consistency required to achieve long-term success. It's important to remember that boundaries are not a one-time decision, but a practice. Every day, you will face situations that test your limits. People will ask for your time. Distractions will compete for your attention, and unexpected events will challenge your plans. Each time, you have to decide whether to uphold your boundary or let it slide. The more you practice, the stronger you become, and the more natural it feels to guard your time without guilt. Boundaries become part of who you are, not just something you do. Ultimately, setting boundaries with your time is an act of self-respect. It shows that you value your goals, your health, and your future enough to protect them. It sends a message to yourself and to the world that your time matters and that you refuse to waste it on things that don't serve your purpose. Boundaries create space for growth, focus, and fulfillment, and without them, success remains out of reach because your time will always belong to someone else instead of you. Wasted time is one of the most subtle thieves of success because it often doesn't feel harmful in the moment. A few minutes scrolling through social media, a couple of episodes of a show, or hours lost in aimless conversations seem small at first, but together they can take away entire days, months, and even years. These time traps are dangerous because they disguise themselves as harmless distractions. They give you temporary comfort, but they steal the very resource you need most to build the life you want. Recognizing these traps for what they are is the first step toward protecting your time and redirecting it toward progress. Social media is one of the most common examples. It's designed to hold your attention, to keep you scrolling, clicking, and consuming. What starts as a quick check can easily turn into an hour or more of passive consumption. The problem isn't that social media is inherently bad, but that it robs you of focus if you let it control your time. That lost hour could have been invested in reading, planning, exercising, or working toward your goals. Over weeks and months, those stolen hours accumulate into opportunities missed and dreams delayed. Awareness of how these small habits add up is crucial to breaking free from them. Another trap is binge watching entertainment. While there's nothing wrong with enjoying a show or movie, the danger lies in losing track of time. Entire weekends can disappear into episodes that provide no real return on your investment of energy. Unlike intentional rest, which leaves you refreshed and ready to tackle challenges, this kind of passive escape often leaves you drained and guilty. It's a cycle that offers short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term fulfillment. Choosing to watch in moderation and setting limits transforms entertainment from a trap into a tool for balance. Overthinking is another way people waste their time without realizing it. Hours spent replaying past mistakes, worrying about the future, or analyzing every small detail can leave you stuck in place. Thinking is valuable when it leads to insight or action, but looping thoughts that never move forward consume enormous amounts of time and energy. Overthinking creates the illusion of productivity because your mind feels busy, but in reality, you're not progressing. Learning to interrupt these mental spirals and replace them with decisive action is one of the most effective ways to reclaim your time. Unnecessary conversations and gossip are also common traps. Spending hours talking about problems without solutions or discussing other people's lives instead of working on your own pulls you away from what matters. These interactions often feel engaging in the moment, but they rarely lead to growth or achievement. Time invested in meaningful conversations, ones that inspire, challenge, or teach, is valuable, but time spent in negativity or idle chatter is wasted. Being selective about who you give your attention to and what you talk about ensures that your words and energy align with your vision. One of the reasons people fall into these traps is because they confuse rest with escape. True rest restores your energy, sharpens your mind, and prepares you for the next challenge. Escape, however, numbs you temporarily but leaves you no better off than before. Activities like scrolling, binging, or overthinking are forms of escape, not rest. They create a false sense of relief while stealing the time you could have spent recharging in a way that actually benefits you. Understanding the difference allows you to use your downtime wisely instead of wasting it. A practical way to avoid these traps is to create structure in your day. When you have no plan, it's easy for distractions to creep in and consume your hours. A simple schedule, even if flexible, gives your time direction and makes it harder for wasteful habits to take over. By assigning blocks of time for work, rest, and personal growth, you limit the space where aimless activities can sneak in. This doesn't mean your day has to be rigid, but it does mean your hours have a clear purpose. Another approach is to track your time honestly. Many people don't realize how much of their day is lost until they measure it. Writing down or using tools to monitor where your hours go can be eye-opening. You might think you only spend a few minutes on distractions, but when added up, those minutes often equal several hours. Seeing the numbers in front of you makes it harder to justify wasted time and motivates you to make changes. Self-awareness is a powerful weapon against the hidden traps that steal your focus. Replacing wasted time with purposeful activity doesn't always mean work. It can also mean investing in meaningful rest, hobbies that bring joy, or relationships that nurture you. The goal isn't to eliminate all leisure, but to ensure that your leisure contributes positively to your life instead of draining it. Reading a book, going for a walk, or connecting with someone who inspires you are all examples of ways to recharge without wasting time. These activities leave you stronger and more centered rather than regretful or empty. Over time, avoiding these traps creates a compounding effect. The hours you once lost to distraction are now invested in growth, and the results become visible. You read more, learn more, improve your health, and strengthen your focus. What once held you back no longer controls your schedule, and you find yourself moving closer to your goals without the constant feeling of being behind. The discipline to avoid wasted time isn't about depriving yourself of enjoyment. It's about choosing a kind of enjoyment that builds you up instead of breaking you down. Planning your time intentionally is one of the strongest tools you have to create direction in your life. Without a plan, days slip by quickly, filled with random tasks and distractions that don't bring you closer to your goals. Planning doesn't mean controlling every second of your day, but it does mean assigning your energy toward what matters most. A plan gives your time structure, and structure creates clarity. Instead of waking up unsure of where your focus should be, you begin each day with a sense of purpose that guides your decisions. When you plan, you reduce the mental load that comes with constant decision-making. Each moment you hesitate about what to do next is a moment wasted in indecision. By taking the time to map out your day or week in advance, you remove this burden. You already know what tasks need your attention, and this clarity frees up mental space for creativity and problem solving. The act of planning itself is a sign that you value your time enough to direct it rather than letting chance decide how it will be spent. Another benefit of planning is the ability to prioritize. Not every task deserves the same level of attention, and without a plan, it's easy to spend hours on things that look urgent but are not important. When you create a plan, you can separate what truly moves you forward from what only keeps you busy. This process helps you focus on fewer but more meaningful actions, ensuring your energy is spent where it has the greatest impact. Prioritization prevents you from scattering yourself thin across tasks that don't align with your bigger goals. Planning also allows you to anticipate challenges before they arise. Life is full of interruptions and unexpected demands, but having a plan gives you a framework to adjust without losing direction. Instead of being thrown off course completely, You can shift tasks around while keeping your long-term priorities intact. This adaptability is what separates those who drift aimlessly from those who stay grounded. A plan is not about rigidity. It's about having a compass that helps you navigate changes without losing your way. There is also a sense of accountability that comes with planning. When you write things down or schedule them into your calendar, they stop being vague ideas and become real commitments. This shift makes it harder to ignore or postpone them because you've created a visible reminder of your intentions. Over time, this habit builds discipline and consistency, two qualities that are essential for success. A plan becomes a silent promise to yourself, and following through strengthens your self-trust. One common mistake people make is believing that planning takes too much time. In reality, the small amount of time you invest in planning saves you hours of wasted effort later. 10 minutes spent reviewing your day in the morning can prevent hours of distraction and wandering. The return on this investment is far greater than the time it costs. Planning is not about adding complexity to your life, but about simplifying it by removing uncertainty and confusion. Planning your time intentionally also creates balance. Success is not just about work, it's about health, relationships, and personal growth as well. Without planning, it's easy for one area of life to consume all your energy while the others suffer. By setting aside time for rest, exercise, family, and learning, you ensure that your growth is well-rounded. A balanced plan makes it easier to sustain progress long-term because you're not burning out or neglecting important aspects of your life. Another reason planning is powerful is because it builds momentum. Each day you follow through on your plan, you strengthen the habit of discipline. Over weeks and months, this consistency compounds, creating visible results. You begin to trust yourself to complete what you set out to do, and this confidence carries over into larger goals. The small victories from sticking to a plan accumulate into major achievements, proving that success is rarely about big leaps, but about consistent, intentional steps. Planning also helps you measure progress. Without a plan, it's difficult to know whether you're moving closer to your goals or just spinning in circles. A plan gives you a clear path and makes it easier to track how far you've come. This visibility keeps you motivated because you can see the results of your efforts over time. Even when progress feels slow, your plan reminds you that you're still moving forward, and that reassurance is what keeps you going when challenges arise. Finally, planning your time gives you control. Life will always have elements outside of your influence, but how you spend your hours is largely within your power. A plan allows you to direct your energy instead of scattering it, to make conscious choices instead of falling into habits by default. The act of planning is a declaration that your time matters and that you refuse to waste it. With every plan you make, you're taking ownership of your future and choosing to build it intentionally rather than leaving it to chance. Working smarter instead of just harder is a mindset that changes the way you use your time. Many people equate success with constant busyness, filling their days with endless tasks and long hours. But being busy does not always mean being productive. You can pour all your energy into activity and still end up far from your goals if those activities are not directed with purpose. Success is not about how much effort you exert, but about the effectiveness of that effort. When you focus on working smarter, you create results that last without burning yourself out in the process. One aspect of working smarter is learning to identify the tasks that produce the greatest impact. Not everything on your to-do list carries the same weight, and chasing after small, low-value tasks can keep you feeling occupied without moving you forward. By asking yourself which actions will create the biggest results and concentrating on those first, you ensure that your time delivers maximum return. This principle, often called the $80-20 rule, teaches that a small portion of your efforts often leads to the majority of your outcomes. Recognizing and acting on this helps you break free from the trap of busyness. Another element of working smarter is knowing when to delegate or seek help. Trying to do everything yourself may seem admirable, but it often wastes time and energy on things others could do more efficiently. Delegating does not mean giving up control. It means freeing your time to focus on what only you can do. Surrounding yourself with people who complement your strengths allows you to concentrate on your unique contributions. This approach multiplies your effectiveness because your energy is no longer diluted by tasks that don't require your specific skills. Technology is also a powerful tool for working smarter. Automating repetitive tasks using organizational apps and streamlining process save countless hours. Instead of relying on memory or manual effort for everything, smart systems handle routine details, allowing you to focus on more meaningful work. Working smarter means recognizing where tools can reduce friction in your life and taking advantage of them. Those who resist technology often spend unnecessary time on things that could be simplified, leaving less energy for their higher goals. Focus is another key factor in working smarter. Multitasking might feel productive, but it divides your attention and reduces the quality of your work. Concentrating fully on one task at a time allows you to complete it faster and with better results. When you work with deep focus, you accomplish more in an hour than you might in several hours of distracted effort. Eliminating unnecessary interruptions and creating environments where you can fully engage with your work is a hallmark of smart productivity. Rest also plays a critical role in this mindset. Pushing yourself to exhaustion may seem like dedication, but it often backfires. A tired mind is slower, less creative, and more prone to mistakes. Working smarter means recognizing the value of recovery. Short breaks, regular sleep, and moments of reflection keep your energy high and your mind sharp. Instead of grinding endlessly, you approach your work refreshed and capable of giving your best effort. This balance allows for sustained progress over the long term. Another part of working smarter is constant learning and reflection. When you regularly evaluate how you spend your time, you notice patterns of waste and opportunities for improvement. You ask yourself what worked, what didn't, and what could be done differently. This process of refinement ensures that your methods evolve and become more efficient. People who work only harder keep repeating the same mistakes, but those who work smarter adjust their approach and continuously improve their effectiveness. Working smarter also involves setting clear goals. Without a target, it's easy to waste energy on random activities that don't lead anywhere. Clear goals give you direction and allow you to measure whether your actions are truly aligned with your vision. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, you can break it into smaller, manageable steps and allocate your time to those steps. This focus keeps you from scattering your effort and ensures that every action contributes to meaningful progress. Mindset plays a big role in this principle as well. Working smarter requires you to let go of the belief that success comes only through struggle and long hours. While effort is necessary, effectiveness is more important. This shift in thinking allows you to pursue balance and strategy rather than glorifying exhaustion. People who believe in working smarter understand that the quality of their actions matters far more than the quantity, and they shape their lives around purposeful effort rather than endless labor. Over time, the habit of working smarter compounds into significant results. Each day you focus on high-value tasks, delegate wisely, use tools effectively, and protect your energy, you gain more progress than someone who spends the same hours scattered and exhausted. The difference is not in the number of hours worked, but in how those hours are invested. This approach ensures that your time creates growth, fulfillment, and success without the constant feeling of being overworked and underachieving.